We are live. Welcome everybody to episode 11 of Too Sweet Converse. I am your host, Nico.
Steve-O here. Wild card.
What's up, guys? EJV here.
All right, everyone. Awesome week of wrestling with Wednesday night, just owning it. We're going to get to that a little later in the show. But starting off, we're going to actually take you 2 weeks back to a topic that is pretty interesting. Bray Wyatt is going back to being the Wyatt family cult leader, the Eater of Worlds, and he's actually going to be taking on Braun Strowman in a non-title swamp match at Extreme Rules, the horror show. So I want to get your guys' thoughts starting this episode off. What is your thoughts of Bray Wyatt reverting back to Eater of World gimmick and then us witnessing another cinematic match? Do you think this will be a promising match, or do you think this might be a little bit of a overkill? Who would like to take this one to start?
I'll go.
Cool.
First of all, do we know for sure that this match is a non-title match?
Yes, it did say that on the WWE Facebook official description.
Oh, okay. See, I did not know that part. I'm fine with Bray going back to his, Eater of Worlds cult leader, almost Cape Fear like persona. I'm totally fine with that. My biggest issue with this is, again, it's another cinematic match. The reason being is because I know we're in the middle of a pandemic and WWE has to work with what they have right now, but like the idea of the cinematic match that they did at WrestleMania with Taker and AJ Styles, with Bray Wyatt and John Cena, even the match they did at the following NXT with Gargano and Tommaso was a good idea because it was new, it was exciting, but now here we are into this pandemic a full 3 months later almost, and that's all we're seeing at every single show. We saw that with Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream at TakeOver in Your House. The match between Randy Orton and Edge, the greatest match ever, barf. That was very cinematic with the whole, WrestleMania, New York City, old school Madison Square Garden, mic drop with the introductions. Charles Robinson wearing the fruffled referee t-shirt. It's like, dude, why the cinematic stuff? I understand WWE's in a bit of a tough situation with the pandemic, but I'm not a fan of the cinematic matches. They're not. It's not what wrestling should be. I mean, granted, I know this is entertainment, but it's not what pro wrestling should be. And while WWE won't admit that they're in competition with a promotion like AEW, this is one of the things that make me not want to watch WWE. I'm fine with Bray Wyatt going back to his Eater of Worlds cult leader persona. I'm interested to see more what it does with Braun Strowman. I actually enjoyed Braun's promo, and I really never liked Braun at all as a singles character, as a babyface, even as Universal Heavyweight Champion. I prefer Braun as the monster who just, soon as the bell rings, seek and destroy, bell ring, boom, 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 it's over. But this past week on SmackDown, when Braun actually cut his promo and gave his side of the backstory between him and Bray Wyatt, that was something I really enjoyed. It got me interested. It got me invested in something that Braun Strowman is actually in. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. I fully expect it to lead to them doing a match at whatever SummerSlam will be called in August. So I expect the feud to continue. I know we'll talk more about it in a few weeks when we give our predictions for Extreme Rules. but I'm actually interested in what they're doing between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman.
Very nice. Who'd like to take this one next? EJV.
I'll go. All right, I'll go ahead and take this one. I'm actually very excited to see Bray go back to the Eater of Worlds gimmick. I am a huge fan of that gimmick since the very beginning. I thought it was really cool. It was something different from what we've seen previously at that time period. It's something that it really brought a lot of viewers towards WWE's eyes because they hadn't seen something like this in a long time. To see it back was very surprising, and it was actually pretty cool. Because we've seen so much of the Firefly Funhouse. We see so much of the Fiend over the past month to a year, or whatever it's been since the Fiend first made his debut. And I'm glad they're kind of giving it a break to kind of make it feel more special. But also, they're building Bray and giving him a more multi-dimensional. They're making him more multi-dimensional with not just the Fiend and Firefly Funhouse Bray, but he can switch to the Eater of Worlds if he wants to go back to, and he did. And this is going to be, I think this is the swamp match itself. Of course, the whole cinematic feel. I think it's like Ego said, it's been overdone already, and we're only a couple months into this pandemic. It's already been overdone. There's just been way too many of them. They need to tone down on the cinematic matches. I mean, the first couple Boneyard match, Firefly Funhouse match were great. Even Adam Cole Velveteen Dream, which was in a cinematic style, was pretty good. But they've really starting to go overboard with it, and I think they need to slow down on it, personally. And like I said, I'm invested in this not only for the fact that we get to see this side of Bray again, which we haven't seen in a number of years, but also Braun is really stepping up his game in the promo department, like Nico said. It's been a while since we've seen, or it's been actually since he first really broke out on his own, that Braun has been able to stand toe-to-toe with a guy in promos like Bray Wyatt. So it's pretty refreshing. And I don't know how this match is going to go. That'll be something we'll predict about. We'll talk about more in the predictions episode, whenever that may be. But I'm actually genuinely invested in this match and the story, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
All right, wild card, your thoughts?
Okay, first off, let me just start off by apologizing for the background that you might hear, because I am at my family's restaurant at the moment, as you can tell by the background. The other thing I wanted to mention is that how stupid of a name The Horror Show is. I mean, what the hell is that about, that's another topic for another day, too.
Hey, can the people that did Rocky Horror Picture Show sue for gimmick infringement?
No, right? Seriously.
Yeah,
that might be a good reason for them to. Anyway, Bray, he was somebody who's always intrigued me as a personality-wise, because, when he first came about with his Eaters of World gimmick, that really what drew me in, to the whole Wyatt family gimmick there. I thought that was really what brought me into, his character and just what he brought to the table. I thought it was something different. And we always seem to forget that at one point he was WWE champion. I had to remind myself that a couple of times. So it's nice for him to it was nice to actually see him go to his Firefly Funhouse gimmick, and the whole Fiend character that he came up with was, I gotta say, pure genius, because there was no way. I was thinking to myself, there was no way that Wyatt could top what he did before, and that really what did it. I kind of thought that, having him feud with Bray, I think that, or Bray feuding with Braun, is a nice little throwback because of the history that those two brought. I'm pretty excited for the match, but as for him going back to his old roots, I like it because, in a way that it is going back to what made him well known to begin with. So, but I do miss the Firefly Fun House aspect of it all. But, the way I see it, he's kind of in a way like Matt Hardy right now. You know, he can maybe switch between different characters at will. So I will see him as like the, WWE's equivalent of what Matt Hardy is doing right now in AEW with, his character changes. So, but I'm pretty cool with his character change at the moment. Again, going back to his Eater of Worlds. So it should be fun though, just to see that match come about.
All right, so I'll share my thoughts before we get to the next topic as well. So, I mean, I second you guys with those cinematic matches. I'm kind of getting tired of them. I did like the Boneyard match at first. I thought the Firefly Funhouse match was amusing. The Street Lot match in NXT between The Dream and Adam Cole was entertaining. I didn't think it was necessary for Money in the Bank personally. And that stuff they did with the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, well, I mean, that's a whole different topic there, but I did not like their cinematic theme. But yeah, I think that they should space them out a little more, maybe every so often, like every other pay-per-view if possible, if not longer. But I get that there's the pandemic going on and they have to be creative with the matches. Now on to Bray Wyatt himself. I was a fan of the whole cult leader Bray and the Wyatt family back in the time, but around like 2015, 2016, I kind of was tiring of it. I was happy that Bray got to be a world champion after them kind of jerking him around for a while, but the whole match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania, that was kind of a disgrace. And then they had that, what's that match? The not Chamber of Horrors, but something like that. The House of Horrors match or whatever you want to call it, which pretty cinematic there. But anyways, as far as Bray bringing this gimmick back, I mean, I guess it's something that they could do so they could prolong the Fiend coming. I want to see the Fiend back. I love the Fiend, and I love the whole Firefly Funhouse thing. That has not tired on me yet. I think each and every segment he does with that, hilarious every time. I love the creepiness of it. I think that was like a whole career revival for Bray Wyatt himself, just bringing this unique gimmick, and it's been one of the best highlights of the WWE personally for me. So I'll get more on my thoughts of their match when we do Extreme Rules predictions, but I'll take this return of cult leader Bray for now. I guess they're doing, like Wildcard said, Matt Hardy's reverting to gimmicks here and there. And of course, comparisons have been made to Mick Foley with the three faces of Foley. So I'll take it for what it is. But anytime I can see either Firefly Funhouse Bray or the Fiend, that's my preference. I wouldn't be too upset if we didn't see Cult Leader again after this, but if this is what they're going to run with, then so be it. So now, our next topic, we're going to be talking about our favorite wrestling belt designs or just favorite wrestling belts in general in history. The gentlemen here with me are belt collectors. EJV is representing the Mud Nation Belts brand shirt. So I'll be posting a link. We'll be posting a link in the description more about that, but I'm going to let EJV take this one first. Share your thoughts on the belt shirt.
Gimme.
You muted yourself, you idiot. You idiot.
Dude, yeah, you might want to open it.
We are so keeping this in the recording.
We're keeping this. Keep this. Don't edit this out.
Don't you dare edit this out. We'll quit the damn show.
Oh, you're pathetic, kid. Shut up.
That was the greatest.
But anyways, I'm a belt. I only started collecting belts just recently. This was literally the first one I ever owned here, but I'll get to the discussion of these in a moment. My top 5 favorite belts they're tough. Probably number 1 is probably this one right here, the Smoky Skull title. I just love the design on it, the snakeskin back, the overall just ruggedness of the design of the plates, especially when it comes to Stone Cold Steve Austin. As you know, he wanted the title that wasn't corporatized, and he helped design this bad boy. And it's one of the most popular and sought after belts out there, especially the WWF variation. Personal favorites here, but one of my next one will probably be the undisputed WWE Championship from 2002 to 2004, the belt that we know that Brock
Yeah, that's a
Lesnar,
good one.
The Rock, Eddie Guerrero, Undertaker have all held. Personally, one of my favorites, just the design overall of the center plate, and I think it's one of the coolest looking belts at that time. Next one will probably be I know it's one of Nico's favorites, and it's one of mine too, the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA World Heavyweight title. That belt is one of my personal favorite designs, especially when you get the 3D looking title. Oh my gosh, with the globe and the flags on each plate. It's an absolute beauty, and it's one of the most legendary titles of all. We know that. Come on. Nick Aldis is holding that belt with pride right now. Number 4, probably that's a tough one, but I have to go with this is one of my favorites because of how cool it was at the time, and that was the John Cena US Spinner belt. I thought that belt was one of the coolest fucking things on the planet because of the center plate, the way it spun, whether with us, of course, with the replicas, it's the fake diamonds, but the way the belt looked on TV with the diamonds and just overall and just the bling on it, it was just incredible. The leather looked awesome, with the imprinted design on that. Number 5, and my final choice on that would have to be. I would actually have to go with one of the belts I want to own that I will eventually own besides this version, and that is the 2012 version of the Ring of Honor World Title. Everyone knows I'm a mark for ROH, and I've been for years. And that ROH World Title, besides this classic variation, which I own right here, is one of my favorite designs. Kevin Steen won that in El Generico's final match of Final Battle. The design about that with the sharp edges kind of giving a throwback to the 80s and 90s, I thought was really cool. And I think the overall, just the design of the belt itself and the way it's made, it just looks awesome with the red leather on the back. But yeah, and of course, like I said, these are the 2 belts that I own personally. The Smoky Skull title. I've had this baby for about 5 or 6 years now. And then, of course, the classic ROH World title. Personally, one of my favorite titles ever. Of course, one held by Mr. CM Punk, which is pretty cool. I've yet to show this to him, and I'm hoping to at a future con. But yeah, those are my favorite belts and all the belts I own.
Very nice. I always love that Winged Eagle there, EJV. Who would like to share their thoughts on their favorite belts and maybe even display some next?
Oh, by the way, one more thing. These sumbitches are heavy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are.
I will.
Nico? All right, my friend. Take it
I,
away.
as of today, officially own 3 replica belts. Unfortunately, because of where I am right now, filming this, I'm unable to show them off. If you guys like, I'll do like a video thing with all my belts at some point this weekend, and I'll post it on our page, all our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. But I officially own 3 belts. The first belt I bought, well, first let me give you my top 5 favorite belts of all time. For me, my number 1, just because it was like the first belt I saw when I was a wrestling fan, would be the Winged Eagle, the WWF Winged Eagle. It's a very popular belt amongst hardcore wrestling fans. That to me was just something cool because it looked just awesome. I preferred the Winged Eagle and the Big Eagle because they were kind of, while they're very similar, they're kind of like what I grew up with and started with as a wrestling fan when I first got into pro wrestling. I love that when they did there was a version of the Big Eagle where it was the plates were on a black strap, but the backing was like a dark navy blue. I remember they had that design when Triple H was a WWF/E champion at the time. So that to me, I thought it was cool because it was something different that I wasn't used to seeing as a little kid. When you see a belt that's just, you always see the black leather strap, but this had like a navy blue backing, and I thought that was very cool. I wish they would have kept that version of that title a little bit more longer, but it is what it is. Then you got the Big Gold. belt from the World Heavyweight Championship for either NWA, WCW. I just love that because it said World Heavyweight Champion on it. Um, that to me, when you have something that says World Heavyweight Champion or Heavyweight Champion of the world, meaning you are the top guy of this promotion, of anything, because you are the guy that runs this place, whatever. That to me I thought was very cool. And just because it was gold and it looked badass, like wow, that guy's got the gold. All right, he's the guy. So that was always one of my favorites. Um, then for me, I would say the NWA to 10 pounds of gold, just because of the history of it, behind it, and all the legendary wrestlers that have held that title. I'm fortunate enough to own a NWA replica. Mine is signed by Cody Rhodes and Colt Cabana, two former NWA World Heavyweight Champions, and Nature Boy Ric Flair. Forgot I met Rick earlier this year. So there's that title, and then here's one title that I think doesn't get a lot of love. That may or may not be a future belt purchase for me. The ECW World Heavyweight Championship, the one with the purple letter, yeah, with the purple ECW lettering, and then it had a nice brown leather backing to it. Yeah, I'm such a belt mark. I talk about the backing of belts. I know. That to me I thought was something was cool because ECW, it was extreme, it was hardcore, it was edgy, and it was different. So to me, that's what drew me in, because once you saw those big purple letters and you look and you had a badass like Taz, holding the belt, that to me was something that really stuck out. Ezra's ROH title that he has is one of my favorites, a la because of CM Punk being one of my favorite wrestlers and his story to how he got that title with the Summer of Punk. And you look at guys who've held it, who held that same version. You have Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan. I believe Davey Richards held that version of the title as well. I'm not entirely sure. Austin Aries. The list goes on and on of tremendous wrestlers that have come through Ring of Honor Wrestling that have held that version specifically of the ROH World title. So yeah, those are the list of my favorite titles design-wise. And for what I owned, like I said, I own a NWA replica, World Heavyweight Championship replica, brass plating. That's about 2 years old. It'll be 2 years old this September. That'll be the second year that I've owned that title. Excuse me. The first title I bought, though, was in 2016. After so many years, I thought, man, I got to get an official replica. I'm like, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? Like, I couldn't make up my mind. You could even ask E. Him and I were going back and forth on what I should get because I was super jealous that he had the Smoking Skull for a while, and I just didn't know what to get. I decided on the WWE Network logo of the world title. The reason why I chose that one as my very first is because I like how that title said WWE World Heavyweight Champion. WWE, like it or not, is the number one promotion in professional wrestling. No, I'm not counting New Japan here, because obviously if we go globally, you can make the argument for New Japan. You can make the argument for any promotion across the world. But when you're in WWE, everybody knows who you are. So to me, I always love the idea of WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Granted, I didn't like their version of the big gold with the red croc backing. I absolutely hated that. And I just liked how the WWE Network logo world title looked with the stones. Granted, I don't like the network logo per se, but I did like how it looked. So that was my first title. Then I got my custom side plates, which a lot of people compliment me on at conventions and at wrestling shows. Even wrestlers, guys like CM Punk loves my Chicago plate with my name. Lita and AJ Lee were two other wrestlers who complimented it. So to me, that's my baby. That's my pride and joy. That's the first one, and then the last belt I got today actually. Um, I got my WWF Winged Eagle. As I said, that's my favorite title, so getting that to me was pretty cool. I'll talk more about that as in the coming weeks because I'm not ready to unveil it yet. I'm waiting for my actual birthday so I can be a little happy kid in the next couple days here. But yeah, those are my favorite belts. Those are the belts that I own. I'll post pictures and videos. Oh, and real quick, even though I am not wearing a Johnny Mud's t-shirt like either, Johnny Mudd, a great belt maker and collector as well. Steve will talk more about that in a minute. He's actually going to be sending me a little something something. I don't know what it is, but him and I have been talking. So apparently he's sending me a belt. As soon as I get it, I will post it on our social media accounts. I'll post it on YouTube. I can't wait to see what Johnny Mudd's got in store.
Thank you, Nico. Yeah, I'm very envious of your belts. Definitely have some really awesome side plates. I like those a lot. But before I share my favorite belts, I would like to share two belts Johnny Mudd has actually created. The first belt is, I don't know if you guys can see here. This is pretty much it's the Zelda Triforce Championship that I had him make for me. It's essentially an equivalent of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship along with the Zelda design because I'm a huge Zelda fan. So when he made me the belt, I was like, can you please design it like that? He did a great job. Straps look very good. Triforce plates on them. Then also for C2E2, he made us the Too Sweet Cosplay Championship. I'm just seeing if I can get it in well. Yep. Got because it was he created around C2E2. He did many comic book icons like the Punisher, Spawn, Batman, of course, and then Spider-Man. So yeah, it's a blue strap, silver plates.
It's like a navy blue, like a Chicago navy blue.
Oh yeah.
Like the light blue almost.
Yeah,
that is actually it's a really good colors there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a belt that we all own. It just stays at Steve-O's house.
Yes. Yeah, it's displayed at conventions when we do that. We always will bring the Too Sweet Cosplay Championship for anyone to wear. It is the group's title. But see more about Mud Nation belts in the description in the link, and he also does have a YouTube channel where he shows off his belts as well. Now on to my top 5 titles. I'll be pretty brief with them, but I do want to share them. I'll start from 5 on down. So number 5, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It's a very nice looking belt. I think it pays pretty good homage to the NWA, WCW, WWE Big Gold title. I really like the design of that. The next championship is one EJV owns, and it's the WWE Smoking Skull Championship that was previously held by Stone Cold Steve Austin. I always liked the design, and it just felt very badass. Yep, as he's displaying right there. I do like when wrestlers do customize their titles. I was never a big fan of the spinner belt myself, but with Austin doing the Smoking Skull, absolutely loved it. Number 3 is one that I don't hear too many people talk about, but I mean, back in the 80s and even early 90s, it's a beloved title, the $1 Million Championship. I just love how it's gold. It's gleaming with money. Only a few people have held the title. Ted DiBiase himself, Ted DiBiase Jr., Virgil. I believe there was one other person that's not coming to mind at the moment, but those are the individuals who did hold the title. I know it wasn't really a regularly defended title, but I always liked the look of that. Number 2, the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Steve-O, sorry to interrupt, but there is one other person that did hold that $1 million championship. The ringmaster, Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Duh, I should have known that. Yeah, we were just talking about the guy. But yeah, thank you. That was the other guy I was just thinking of. So thanks for reminding me on that one, EJB. But the second title would be the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. That's a very nice belt. I always really like the look of it. So, it shows you're the big deal, even in the WWE. Like, even though it was treated as a secondary title, well, in comparison to the WWE Championship on Raw, it was still a great belt. I always loved it, and I want to own a replica of it myself one day. Finally, number one, the belt that got me into wrestling, the Winged Eagle World Title in the WWE. Just like the design, it just looks like it's a big deal, and it just is symbolic to me. So that's my take on the championships. Before we get to the next topic, Wildcard, would you like to share your take on the belts?
Yeah, absolutely. I just got a few. I'll definitely be pretty quick about this one. I don't have them with me right now, but I have two titles that I own. Okay. I had that you guys have seen before. The WWE's version of the United States Championship. That's actually I actually feel like that a lot of people seem to enjoy that one just because it's actually been it's one of the older secondary designs to still be in existence. I mean, especially with the changes with with the Intercontinental title or the women's title, whatever there. But that design has actually been around for quite a while. So, it's pretty cool that they're still keeping it, even though there's been rumors that they were going to change it. But I like the design, so that's definitely one of my favorites there too. Another one that I really enjoy is, the WCW World Heavyweight title. I thought that, to me, that felt like it was a very legitimate title. It just looked like a real championship belt to me. So that one stood out to me. The other one that I think I really enjoy was probably the TNA X Division title. I actually did enjoy, the designs on the X Division title, and also, what the X Division title meant to TNA at the time. Because, there was a period. I'm actually going to take my mask off here. There was a period where the TNA has essentially revolved around the X Division, and just having the X Division title, like, being the centerpiece of that company, was something that I thought was really prestigious. I thought it was really cool. The design actually looked pretty sick too, so I actually enjoyed that. The other one is probably, to me, one of the most prestigious titles in all of professional wrestling right now, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. I think right now that the way that it's designed right now, it is very the craftsmanship on it is incredible there too. I mean, I actually own a replica of it. You guys have seen me with it. That's my crown jewel. And it's been really really enjoyable to just see the guys who have won it before. So it's actually quite fun though to see that. And probably the last title I would say I would probably mean probably my most favorite is I'd say I'm gonna have to go with Nico on this. I'm gonna have to go with the ECW title on this. Just something about that design that just makes it very very hardcore. I mean, I think I love the fact that the purple streaks on there too, and just the design of it just kind of made it very edgy. So I mean, those are my favorite titles right there. And I own the IWGP World Heavyweight title, the replica version, and I'm very proud to have that, and I'm looking to maybe add on to the collection later on.
Before we move on to the next topic, if you guys ever if you're ever thinking about getting a replica belt, whether it's from WWE shop, I know people in the wrestling belt community get in contact with me, get in contact with belt groups on Facebook like AJ's Belts, Belt Nation, Brothers of the Belt, guys like that on Facebook. They're really cool. Quick shout out to Steven Hammer, who's a guy who reviews belts on YouTube a lot. We mentioned Johnny Mudd. He does belt reviews. Mayan belts. Right now, they do the best unofficial official replica of the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, they're a bit pricey, but I guarantee you, if you look up Mayan belts, they are legit. So just a quick shout out to those guys since we're talking wrestling belts.
Not a problem. Yeah, definitely give those guys a look. If you guys have links, we'll
I got
share them in the description.
I got one more belt that just came to mind there too. That even though I said my 5 there, but there's one belt that I wanted to mention that I thought should be mentioned. The Super Kick Party Championships. I thought that those were awesome looking titles. So yeah.
The design on those were actually really good. They really were.
Yep, definitely.
Very nice. Definitely lots of great titles out there. It's hard to pick just one, so I condensed it down to 5. We condensed it down to 5 just to say, hey, yeah, these are our titles. Otherwise, we could probably do a whole episode on belts, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you see that we didn't leave it at 5. We went over, all of us.
The top 20 titles.
I had to get that extra one in. So.
Right.
No worries. So we're getting to our next segment. It is the Cosplayer of the Week segment, as we like to just reach out to the community and have some cosplayers be showcased on our pages. So this week's cosplayer is Joey Janela. That is his handle.
Nice.
You're not going to meet a bigger Joey Janela fan than this guy, I don't think. So.
Well, I mean, the real Joey Janela is a cosplayer wrestler. If you ask Jim Cornette, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Yeah. So I'll start this one off. Joey first started cosplaying in 2018 as Joey Janela, of course. He actually met the real Joey Janela himself, and he gave him the title Future Joey, Bad Boy from the Future. Who would like to read this part off next?
I will. In 2018, he cosplayed as Joey Janela, the bad boy, at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, and then he did it again in 2019. Of course, Emerald City Comic Con is a sister convention to both C2E2 and the New York City Comic Con. One, we'd love to attend sometime, but we'll see about that.
Definitely on a bucket list for me. Yeah.
Right.
I've been
Yeah,
once,
I'll take
I
the
want to
next.
go back.
I'll take the next one here.
Okay.
So John got into wrestling when he was 5. He fell out of touch for a while, but in 2015 he fell back in love with wrestling when he discovered Joey Janela.
Sense a theme.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the bad boy, some of his other favorite wrestlers include Shane Strickland, the Lucha Brothers, Nick Gage, Artemis Spencer, and Randy Myers. And being truthful, the only one I know aside from Joey is the Lucha Bros, of course. I'm not all too familiar with the others, not gonna lie.
Nick Gage, MDK, baby.
Yeah, I know who Nick Gage is, along with the Lucha Bros. But man, what a Joey Janela mark for himself. Kidding.
So, before we get to the showcase of his Joey Janela cosplays, I just want to note that Joey Janela is his signature cosplay. He wears it at Halloween conventions and any wrestling show that Joey Janela appears on.
Wait, I just have one question though, since I'm not reading anything off the script. Does he drink White Claw?
Wait, what?
Does he drink White Claw?
Does he drink White Claw?
I'm not 100% sure, but
Joey Janela's drinking choice.
Joey Janela, in this cosplay montage we're about to give you, you better have a White Claw in your hand, at least in one of the photos.
So, we're going to show you a showcase of his cosplays. Go check it out, guys. Joey Janela. Make sure to follow all his social media in the descriptions provided. And
You know he's never dating Penelope Ford in his lifetime.
Ooh.
Kip Sabian down.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I swear to you, I see a Sable Mark Mero scenario with those two, but we'll get into it later.
Now, don't forget, submit your your own cosplays to be a featured cosplayer of the week on a future episode
Send
of
us your
Too Sweet Converse.
stuff.
Yep. You can be featured on our YouTube show or even our
Send us your stuff.
Dude, it's creepier even with the mask.
I know,
Okay.
right? That's the point.
Now, for our final segment, we're going to be discussing last night. Well, this is recorded Thursday. Last night's AEW Fyter Fest Night 1 and NXT's Great American Bash Night 1. Gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts on which show did you prefer between the two, if you had a preference, and then what were some of your favorite matches of the nights? Who would like to take this one?
I will go.
All right, Nico, go for it.
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologize. The only reason why our night one for NXT, Great American Bash, and AEW Fyter Fest were not uploaded was because of some technical difficulties, aka photo editing app did not want to upload and cooperate with me, so screw you, technology. Anywho, I thought both shows were great. I thought both shows represented why Wednesday night is the perfect night for wrestling. Like those Tide commercials, like this night is laundry night. Wednesday nights are officially wrestling night. Both programs were great. They did a lot of things that I loved, a lot of things that I didn't like, and I kind of questioned. I'll go with NXT Great American Bash. Right off the bat, you showcased 4 of the best women you have in the company in the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match between Mia Yim, Tegan Nox, Dakota Kai, and Candice LeRae. Great match. However, I kind of felt like the match was very slow to start with when it was all 4 girls in the match, but then it officially picked up when it was down to the final 2 between Dakota Kai and the eventual winner Tegan Nox. I was a little shocked that Tegan ended up getting the win. While I am a bigger fan of Dakota Kai, I am a fan of Tegan Nox and her backstory. I would have preferred it, like I said a few weeks ago, that Tegan would have been the one if they would have built her up to take the NXT Women's Championship off of Charlotte Flair. I understand why they gave it to Io off of Charlotte, especially now with Charlotte taking some time off of wrestling altogether. So I'm fine with it. I just really wish they would have built up Tegan as a bigger babyface, since he already has the backstory coming back from a horrendous knee injury. I was a little shocked that when you had 2 heels and you had 2 babyfaces technically in this match, that one of the heels did not win. It's better when you have a heel versus a babyface. When you have a heel trying to get the title off of the babyface, it's better for storyline purposes. So I thought maybe this would have been Dakota Kai's turn at the title. Maybe something will happen where Dakota either takes Tegan's place or somehow interjects herself in the match to continue her feud with Tegan Nox. But now we're also throwing in the NXT Women's Championship. But very good with that match. Rhea Ripley against Aaliyah and Robert Stone. If Rhea would have lost, she would have been the Robert Stone brand. I was hoping that would have happened. Loved how Robert Stone came out looking like Mark Mero with the boxing trunks, not basketball, boxing trunks, and the robe. Legit Mark Mero vibes from Robert Stone. That was hilarious. There was some botches on both his part and Rhea's, but that's good botchamania stuff right there. But then Timothy Thatcher versus Oney Lorcan are real good if you're into old school chain wrestling, technical wrestling match. That was pretty cool. A lot of joint manipulation in that match. Very cool, very technically sound. And then the main event, Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai. Very good women's match. Love that they let Sasha come back with the old school NXT style legit boss entrance that she was so accustomed to for takeover, so to speak. They treated this like it was a pay per view, which is what the Great American Bash is. Uh, love the entrance. Her and Io, great match. Love the psychology of the finish. And I didn't catch this until I saw this in a YouTube video earlier today before we started doing this podcast. If you watch the match back, the finish is Bayley distracts the referee. So the referee goes to, confront Bayley, but try to not get the match thrown out. Sasha goes to grab the tag belt to hit Io, but then Asuka shows up. Asuka spits the green mist in the face. Sasha goes down, but somehow she protects her face so the referee can't see it. Io hits the moonsault. The referee still doesn't see that Asuka got sprayed in the face with green mist. And then when Io pins Sasha, she covers her face with her knee so the ref can't see the green mist in the face. The ref counts the 1, 2, 3. The ref looks and sees the green mist on Sasha's face, but he looks at Io. He doesn't see any green mist out of her mouth, so he can't technically disqualify her. And it was just such great psychology. The little nuances that you'll miss in a storytelling match that I thought was beautiful. And then you got AEW. Every match was pretty solid. While I think the match between MJF and Wardlow against Jurassic Express was really good. That to me was my favorite match of the night for Fighter Fest Night 1. A lot of the other stuff on AEW was pretty cool, but to me, when you have the main events, when you're comparing the main events, NXT blew them out of the water. I don't care if in the ratings AEW was 6 in demographic and NXT was 13. When you go by main event, which is what you care about the most because it's the last thing you see in wrestling, NXT beat AEW for the second week in a row in the ratings, and that's just all I got to say.
Very nice. Who'd like to take this one next?
I'll go ahead and take this one.
Go for it, JB.
I thought both shows last night really showcased what pro wrestling was about, and it gave us exciting, great action on both shows, great moments that we will remember. Nothing too extravagant, It's not like it was like Double or Nothing or Fyter Fest or something, but Double or Nothing or like All Out, but it was a great night of action for both shows. NXT I thought really delivered, especially that main event between Io Shirai and Sasha. Like Nico said, one of the best women's main event matches I've seen in a long time. Sasha and Io, man, them two together, they really, because there was a lot of people who kind of doubted how well the match was going to go because of the lack of build-up and everything. I thought it really delivered even with the lack of build-up with this match and the event overall as a whole. I thought they did a really good job. Timothy Thatcher and Orny Larkin was probably my favorite match of the night outside of the main event because them two, it was like an old school physical wrestling MMA style match, very similar to the Fight Pit match with Matt Riddle. I thought it was an amazing fight brawl. I knew them two were going to go at it, and holy shit, they did, man. They threw bombs at each other. The women's match, yeah, it did confuse me with Tegan Nox winning because, I had predicted Dakota Kai to win it, and I figured it'd be a heel to win it, so it's kind of threw me off when I watched that match. But yeah, NXT was great. AEW was great as well. They had some great matches on that. My match of the night probably on that side would probably be it's a tough one, but I'm gonna go with actually, believe it or not, Wardlow and MJF Jurassic Express. I thought it was a really fantastic match. Everybody got to showcase what they were about. Of course, MJF best heel in the business. We know that. Wardlow, big bad MF'er there. And then Jurassic Express, one of the best tag teams out there. and what a match it was. And it was I had predicted that Wardlow and MJF were going to pick up the victory, which surprised another one that surprised me that Jurassic Express picked up the victory because of how dominant Wardlow has been. I figured they let him pick up the victory on this one, but once again, it's the Wild West style of wrestling here for AEW, as they always say, But as far as the match of the night between the two shows, I also got to give it to Io and Sasha. Their main event was better than the tag team title match, which was great. But to me, Io and Sasha put on a clinic that night, not just for women's wrestling, but wrestling in general. And as far as the overall show, I'm going to give it to AEW, though. I thought just the ambiance with the crowd noise and everything from the people who were standing outside there, they were allowed to be fans instead of being produced by Kevin Dunn and Vince and Triple H, like what has been rumored about the crowds for NXT and Raw and SmackDown. So that's what I think is the real game changer in that, and that's why I go with AEW as the show of the night. But main event, Sasha and Io.
All right, wild card. What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to be very brief with mine here, just for time constraint purposes. But what a great night. I mean, you essentially have two pay-per-views. I say that in air quotes there because we were able to watch it for free, of all wrestling. I mean, it was one of those nights where, you look forward to both shows because each one had a lot of different aspects to offer. It was I kind of like AEW's side a little bit there too, but the thing is that they never it didn't really stand out to me too much as a pay-per-view per se, because you can probably find a lot of these matches like in a regular Dynamite show, but that didn't it's not to say that it didn't skip out on the quality there, but I kind of felt like NXT kind of in a way it kind of had a little bit of an actual pay-per-view with it, especially with Io Shirai and Sasha Banks. I thought that was really cool that like you said, that just bringing Sasha back to her roots in NXT, coming out in the limousine and all that stuff there, and I thought that was actually really like a throwback to what they did. What she used to do back in her NXT days. That was a really good match. I had an opportunity to see clips of the match, and I didn't have a chance to see the whole show, but the clips of the match, from what I saw, it looked really back and forth there. Not to say that AEW didn't have those matches, especially with the tag team matches of Private Party and Pride and Powerful. I thought that was actually really good to showcase Private Party, especially them getting the win. I thought that was very good for them, but it kind of took me by the surprise that I kind of figured for whatever reason that Pride and Powerful were going to get that. But the MJF, Wardlow, and Jurassic Express match was the one that kind of stood out to me the most because man, Luchasaurus is actually really good. I mean, we all kind of knew that, but man, he is just like, for a big man, he has got all kind of athleticism all over for him. I mean, I could see him as a potential singles champion at some point. But honestly, though, had Moxley and Brian Cage had that match actually occurred that night, I would have given them the show to AEW. But because of situations and circumstances, it didn't happen. We have to wait a couple of weeks for that. But I think I'm gonna have to go with NXT on this just because of the actual. It just felt like a pay-per-view ambiance as opposed to AEW. That's just my take on that.
Very nice. I'll give you my thoughts. I'm gonna try to keep them brief, for time constraints as well. But yeah, both were solid shows. I definitely enjoyed watching both shows. I tried watching them simultaneously as much as possible, as I had work the next morning. I wouldn't really have had time before we recorded this episode to check it out. But I definitely was watching both and just like trying to keep my eyes focused on the action for both shows as much as possible. The opening match for Fighter Fest I really enjoyed with MJF and Wardlow taking on the Jurassic Express. I am a big Luchasaurus fan. That guy is amazing for a tall guy. He can move like nobody's business, and I do see him being a future TNT champion myself.
Yeah, guy's a
yeah,
giant cruiser. Yeah,
exactly. I was surprised by the outcome. I was predicting MJF and Wardlow to win, but it's nice to see those two, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, get some momentum going on. And we see maybe some little dissension between Wardlow and MJF. That's going to be very interesting to see what's to come of that. As far as the Private Party versus Pride and Powerful, yeah, it was a good bout. It was nice seeing Matt involved. I was kind of hoping Pride and Powerful would get like a victory because they could use some. But, I mean, it is what it is. I'm all right with that. TNT Championship was a decent match. I wasn't too wild about the ending of it. I thought that for a second Jake actually won it, but, Cody pulled a fancy roll-up, and now there's going to be an angle that Jake is actually suspended for a while since he attacked the referee post-match.
Yeah, real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, Siwo, but whoever queued up the music right when that match finished, that person deserves to be freaking fired. I mean, like, you took away from a cool moment where it's almost like, oh, did he get him? Did he really win? But right away when we hear Cody's music, we like, okay, Cody won, 1, 2, 3. But yet Jake is up, looking like he won. But yet you just made your big badass MMA fighter, aka your answer to Brock, look like a dumbass. I mean, I like Jake Hager,
I wasn't too wild about that, but I mean, it is
what
it is.
Like, what?
Yeah. But I mean, we'll see what happens to come. But other than that, yeah, I actually like the women's championship match. I fully expected Hikaru to retain, and it didn't surprise me. But Penelope Ford put on a pretty awesome showing. Definitely was. Even had like one close fall where I thought she might have actually won the title. But great match. For the main event, it was a pretty good main event. I'll agree with everyone else saying that Sasha and Io over on NXT put on the better bout. But I did like the ending a lot with FTR. Like, they prior came out to the commentary area, and then we saw the Young Bucks, FTR, Omega and Page in the ring. I thought that was all very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially since FTR and Young Bucks are on the same team next week. I was very surprised Page and Omega retained the titles. I thought that it would be the best friends night, and I did get a huge kick out of Trent's mom dragging them to the match. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious?
God,
visions of Judy Bagwell, Mama Benjamin, ridiculous. And I'm gonna quickly go over the NXT. One match I'm gonna give a shout out to is Oney Lorcan versus Timothy Thatcher. I kind of slept on that match, but they put on a very good technical masterpiece. Like, maybe it's not one of the best ones of them all, but like comparing it to earlier this year, it reminded me of Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan. I thought that was a very good technical match. I enjoyed. I was pretty interested in Roderick Strong versus Dexter Lumis. I think that Dexter is definitely going to be elevated at some point in NXT. I don't know how far he'll go on, but we'll see. It's pretty interesting. Women's triple threat, I thought that was a very good match. Congrats to Tegan Nox. I think we all predicted a heel to win the match. I predicted Candice LeRae myself, but good for Tegan. No complaints there. And then finally, I'll just say with the main event, Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. Yeah, definitely had that big match feel. I predicted Sasha to win because I thought she would just get the momentum because it was a non-title match. But good for NXT booking Io to win the match and look strong as a champion. They both put on a great showing, so props to them. Great first nights. Can't wait to see the second night. We're about to close out the show, but before we do so, we want to wish all of the viewers here a happy 4th of July. And gentlemen, really quick, who is your favorite patriotic wrestler or wrestlers? Just shout out a name or two or whatever.
I'll go ahead and go first. I'll go ahead and go first on this one.
I was gonna say no. Everyone, you're waiting to say it here.
I know it's a waiting game, but I'll take the reign on this one. Easily Kurt Angle, of course, Wrestling Machine, one of the best of all time. Other patriotic wrestlers, I gotta go with the Patriot himself. What a great gimmick that was. and I gotta go with the invincible Mr. America, brother.
Mirror.
All right, Nico.
Yeah.
What about
All right,
you?
I'll go next. I'll go next.
Go ahead, you first.
Yeah. Well, definitely Kurt Angle for sure. I mean, he basically symbolizes patriotism there. Of course, you can't go wrong with Mr. America too. But how about the artist formerly known as Jack Swagger? We the people. Yeah. How about that?
Very nice. Good choices. Nico, who are some of your choices?
You know what? I'm going to give you the most patriotic wrestler of all. And he's not even American.
Oh, God.
He's Bret the Hitman Hart, baby. He's Canadian. Yesterday was Canada Day. Happy
that
Canada
is a
Day,
biased
everybody.
answer.
Sorry, happy Canada Day to our viewers
Happy
out in Canada.
Yeah,
Yes.
Happy Canada Day, and Bret Hart is the most patriotic wrestler of them all. And actually, today is the Hitman's birthday.
He's not as patriotic as the Mountie. Yeah.
Oh my God. But in all seriousness, happy birthday to my favorite professional wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. Today's actually his birthday. So happy birthday, Bret. But real quick, Kurt, when you think of professional wrestling in America, and I'm talking like real good professional wrestlers, you got to say Kurt Angle. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Truly an Olympic hero. Won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. Say it with your chest, boys, on that one. Kurt Angle, the world's strongest man. Mark Henry, who was in the Olympics at the same time as the NBA Dream Team was in the 90s. So shout out to the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, a great American wrestler. Those are my two. Honestly, you could think of others. Sergeant Slaughter with his gimmick. Was he in the Marine Corps? Was he not? That's a different conversation for a different day.
Some of my favorite wrestlers. Well, one, Hulk Hogan, the man who got me into wrestling, one of the icons. And then two, one of my personal favorite wrestlers of all time, Kurt Angle, the Olympic hero. Definitely one of my favorites. Very nice guy in person. And as for number three, I'm going to go with a little bit of a different take. I'm going to go with Liberty Bell from Netflix's Glow. So
can I
awesome.
hurt you my list too? Because no one's as patriotic as Liberty Bell.
Dude, okay. Everybody loves Ruth, though, okay? And she belongs with Sam. Damn it, what the hell? Like,
that's another topic for another day, though.
Yeah.
And that's all the time we have for today,
That's all.
folks.
look, real quick, happy 4th of July, everybody. I love you.
Yes.
Happy
Right.
Independence Day. Hey, E, happy birthday, you beautiful fat bastard. I love you. You are my brother. I love you.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ezra. Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Go on a diet. You fully
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
bro.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the birthday wishes that I know are going to be coming from everybody out there. 29 years. It's it's been an eventful 29 years. All the shit I've been through personally, with everything going on and everything, it's been worth it. With my crew here, I couldn't. I've had the best 3 years or so with this group, and so anytime I get to spend it with my bros, it's all worth it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Each and every one of you guys. Hope you have a safe 4th of July.
Yeah.
And please wear a mask and be safe.
Yes. I mean, we like to joke around, and we like to poke fun at each other all the time. I mean, that's just our gig right there. But in all seriousness, no, yeah, it's a tough world that we're living in right now. I'm wearing my mask. You should too. So
yeah, be sure to like the video on here on YouTube. If you enjoyed it, please share your thoughts on any future episode ideas you may have and your opinions on Wednesday's shows. Subscribe to Too Sweet Cosplay and follow us at Too Sweet Cosplay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And with Finley getting a little out of hand, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yep. Love you guys. Hey.
Yeah. Happy 4th, guys.
All right.
Be safe,
care.
everybody.
Be safe.
Good brother Ezra. What's up, my man? Nico tells me that July 3rd is your birthday, so live from Jacksonville Beach, I want to wish you a happy birthday. It's me, the big LG, Doc Gallows, man. I heard that you guys love talking shop. You're especially great brothers. I heard you're a fat man, so am I, no problem there. So keep listening to the podcast. I hope that you get to crack a beer, take off your pants, and listen, Ezra, to the worst podcast ever on your birthday. I wish we were doing a special birthday edition just for you. But Little Hoot Rocky, he's too fucking cheap. Hot Carl's too fucking famous. And I'm too busy at the beach brothering around, trolling the marks on the Twitter net, so they can see what the next move is. But your next move is to have a couple of liquor slushies and enjoy that birthday. Happy birthday, Ezra.